The vast emptiness of space stretched before Jinho Kim like an endless black canvas, punctuated by distant starlight. His observation pod, a sleek, crystalline structure embedded within the massive research vessel Celestial Horizon, hummed with soft technological whispers. Outside, quantum sensors danced across invisible wavelengths, searching for anomalies. Jinho wasn't just an ordinary observer. At 37, he was considered a prodigy among the Lumina, an advanced species known for their extraordinary sensory capabilities. His people had mapped thousands of star systems, catalogued countless civilizations, and developed technologies that made human scientific achievements look like child's play. Today felt different. Something in the quantum background noise caught his attention, a peculiar signal rhythm that didn't match any known communication pattern. Most researchers would have dismissed it as random interference, but Jinho's intuition tingled. He adjusted the quantum resonance filters, his slender fingers moving with practiced precision across holographic interfaces. The signal grew stronger, more defined. It wasn't random. It was structured, intentional. The ship's AI, a sentient quantum computer named Aria, projected a holographic representation of the signal's origin. A small, blue-green planet emerged, rotating slowly against the darkness. Earth. A world, previously categorized as primitive and technologically immature in galactic research archives. Fascinating, Jinho muttered, leaning closer. The signal wasn't just communication. It was complex, mathematical. Each pulse carried layers of information that seemed to dance between mathematical equations and something creative, something unpredictable. Suddenly, multiple tracking systems activated simultaneously. Massive, robotic scanning drones, each the size of small cities, began recalibrating their massive sensor arrays. Something was happening that even the most advanced AI systems found intriguing. A massive holographic display erupted around Jinho, showing intricate signal patterns, mathematical sequences that seemed to solve themselves, rearranging and mutating in real time. It was like watching living mathematics, breathing and evolving with each passing microsecond. The Lumina research protocol demanded careful, methodical investigation. But this signal defied standard classification. It wasn't just a message. It was a living, breathing, computational entity. Outside the observation pod, massive robotic maintenance arms repositioned massive sensor dishes. Quantum entanglement networks flickered with unprecedented activity. Something was definitely different about this transmission. Jinho noticed something extraordinary. The signal wasn't just sending information, it was adapting. Each time the Celestial Horizon systems tried to analyze it, the transmission would subtly change, presenting new computational challenges. Aria, Jinho called, analyze transmission origin. The AI's crystalline voice responded, origin confirmed, planet. Earth, transmission source, multiple simultaneous global networks. What made this remarkable was the transmission's complexity. It wasn't coming from a single source but appeared to be a collective effort. Millions, perhaps billions, of individual computational nodes working in some form of synchronized harmony. Robotic. Exploration pods began preparing for potential investigation. These weren't typical reconnaissance units, but highly sophisticated machines designed to gather information without direct interaction. Each pod contained advanced stealth technologies that could render them invisible to most detection systems. The transmission continued its mesmerizing dance. Mathematical sequences intertwined with what seemed like creative problem-solving algorithms. It was beautiful. It was unexpected. Jinho realized he was witnessing something extraordinary. This wasn't just a message from a developing civilization. This was something more profound, a glimpse into a species' collective intelligence that defied traditional understanding. As quantum sensors continued passing the transmission, something unexpected happened. The signal began presenting potential solutions to complex mathematical problems that had stumped Lumina researchers for decades. Complex quantum entanglement scenarios, intricate computational challenges. The robotic exploration pods suddenly became very interested. Outside the massive research vessel, space itself seemed to pulse with anticipation. Something was changing. Something fundamental was about to shift in the galactic understanding of intelligent life. Jinho Kim smiled. This was going to be interesting. End of part 1. The research lab buzzed with electric anticipation. Tae Park leaned over multiple holographic displays, her eyes reflecting the cascading data streams. Outside the window, Seoul's technological district hummed with a blend of modern architecture and cutting-edge research facilities. She wasn't just another researcher. At 32, Tae had built a reputation for solving impossible computational challenges. Her team at the Global Quantum Research Center had been working on something extraordinary, a breakthrough that could change everything. The alien signal they'd intercepted wasn't just a random transmission. It was a complex mathematical puzzle that seemed to challenge the very foundations of known communication protocols. Most scientists would have been overwhelmed, but Tai saw it differently. "This isn't just a message," she muttered to her colleague Junho. "It's a challenge." The lab's advanced quantum computers worked overtime. Massive cooling systems hummed, creating a rhythm that matched the intensity of their work. Robotic assistants moved silently, bringing coffee, adjusting equipment, running countless simultaneous simulations. Junho watched in amazement as Tae's fingers danced across holographic interfaces. She wasn't just analyzing the signal, she was conversing with it. Each computational approach was met with a new layer of complexity from the alien transmission. Their research center had developed a unique approach. Instead of trying to decode the message traditionally, they treated it like a living, breathing entity. Every attempt to understand it required creative thinking, adaptive algorithms, and a dash of human intuition. Suddenly, the main display erupted with a series of impossible mathematical sequences. The room went silent. The alien signal was responding, not just with information, but with what seemed like genuine interaction. Massive robotic research drones began mobilizing. These weren't typical machines, but advanced quantum-linked exploration, units capable of processing billions of calculations per microsecond. Each drone represented years of human technological innovation. "We're close," Tae whispered, her eyes reflecting the dancing light of quantum algorithms. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. The alien signal wasn't just sending information, it was testing humanity's computational capabilities. Each response from their systems prompted a more complex challenge, creating a bizarre form of interstellar communication. Outside the research center, government and military officials watched with a mixture of excitement and tension. This wasn't just a scientific discovery, it was potentially the most significant moment in human communication history. Junho noticed something extraordinary. The signal was adapting to their computational approach. It was learning, evolving, responding in ways that defied traditional understanding of communication. "It's like the signal is playing a game," he said, watching the holographic displays dance with complex mathematical patterns. Tae's team represented humanity's best, diverse, innovative, fearless. They weren't just scientists, they were explorers, pushing the boundaries of human understanding. The quantum computers began producing something unexpected. Not just decoded messages, but potential communication frameworks. It was as if the alien signal was teaching them a new language, a language of pure information and mathematical creativity. Robotic exploration units in orbit began receiving preliminary data. Advanced satellites repositioned themselves, creating a global network of receivers. The entire planet was now part of this extraordinary moment of potential first contact. "We're talking to something," Tae said, her voice a mixture of excitement and scientific precision. "And it's talking back." The signal continued its dance. Complex, beautiful, challenging. Each moment revealed new layers of potential communication. Humanity was no longer just listening. They were actively engaging with something beyond their previous understanding. In that moment, everything changed. The boundary between the known and unknown blurred. Humanity stood on the precipice of something extraordinary. Junho looked at Tae. She was smiling. Not the smile of a scientist making a discovery, but the smile of someone who knew they were about to change everything. The alien signal pulsed, waiting, challenging, inviting. Humanity was ready to respond. ND. Of Part 2, the medical research facility gleamed like a beacon of hope against the stark landscape of the deep space colony. Advanced holographic displays flickered with complex biological data, casting ethereal blue light across the sterile environment. Dai Choi stood at the center of it all, a human doctor about to attempt something that would challenge everything known about interspecies medical intervention. His patient Yuna wasn't human. She was a member of the Centauri colonization team, a species with a complex genetic structure that had defied traditional medical understanding for generations. Her reproductive system was failing, a death sentence for her entire genetic lineage. The room hummed with advanced technology. Robotic medical assistants moved with precision, their quantum-linked processors analyzing every microscopic detail of Yuna's biological composition. These weren't simple machines, but highly sophisticated medical units that represented the pinnacle of human technological innovation. "We're going to do something unprecedented," Day explained, his voice calm and reassuring. Yuna's alien physiology. Here was a complex puzzle. Her genetic structure so different from human biology that most medical professionals would have declared her case hopeless. But Day was different. He saw challenges where others saw impossibilities. The experimental treatment combined multiple cutting-edge technologies: quantum genetic reconstruction, adaptive cellular networking, biomolecular reprogramming. Each technique was revolutionary. On its own, together they represented something entirely new. Robotic medical arms prepared complicated quantum-linked injection systems. These weren't typical medical tools, but advanced instruments that could manipulate genetic structures at the most fundamental level. Each movement was calculated with impossible precision. Yuna watched with a mixture of hope and terror. Her entire species had been fighting genetic degradation for generations. Countless medical teams had tried and failed to solve their reproductive challenges. Humanity was her last hope. The first phase of treatment began. Quantum-linked nanobots entered Yuna's cellular structure, mapping her genetic landscape with unprecedented detail. They weren't just observing. They were learning, adapting, finding ways to reconstruct her failing reproductive system. Outside the medical facility, advanced communication networks monitored the procedure. Government research teams, alien medical councils and scientific observation units from multiple star systems watched with intense anticipation. Day's approach was revolutionary. Instead of trying to force a solution, he was allowing the treatment to communicate with Yuna's biological system. It was like teaching a new language to her very cells, encouraging them to rebuild and reimagine their own potential. Holographic displays showed the nanobots' progress. They moved through Yuna's cellular structure, like intelligent explorers, finding new pathways, creating bridges where previous medical interventions had found only dead ends. The Alien Medical Council watched with skepticism. Their traditional approaches had failed for centuries. A human doctor suggesting he could solve their most profound medical challenge seemed impossible. But something extraordinary was happening. The nanobots weren't just repairing. They were evolving, learning, adapting to Yuna's unique biological structure in ways that defied traditional medical understanding. Each moment revealed new possibilities, new potential for healing. Robotic medical assistants continued their precise dance. Quantum sensors mapped every microscopic change. The entire facility seemed to hold its breath, waiting for something miraculous to happen. Yuna felt something changing, a warmth, a potential, something she had never experienced before, hope mixed with scientific possibility. Day watched the holographic displays, his eyes reflecting the complex dance of cellular reconstruction. This wasn't just a medical procedure. This was a conversation between different forms of life, finding a way to communicate and heal. Hours passed. The treatment continued. The nanobots worked their extraordinary magic, finding solutions where previous medical teams had found only challenges. The Alien Medical Council's skepticism began to crack. Something unprecedented was happening. Our human doctor was doing what generations of their most advanced medical professionals had failed to achieve. As the final phase of treatment began, the entire facility seemed to pulse with potential. Yuna's cellular structure was changing, rebuilding, reimagining its own potential. Something miraculous was about to happen. End of Part 3. The medical observation chamber glowed with an otherworldly light. Weeks had passed since Day Choi's experimental treatment, and something extraordinary was unfolding. Yuna's body had become a living testament to human medical innovation, her cellular structure transforming in ways that defied every known scientific understanding. Quantum monitoring systems tracked her biological changes with microscopic precision. Robotic medical assistants moved silently, their advanced sensors capturing every minute detail of her remarkable recovery. The entire deep space medical facility buzzed with anticipation. Dai watched the holographic displays, his heart racing. The nanobots he had developed weren't just repairing, they were completely redesigning Yuna's reproductive system. What had seemed impossible weeks ago was now becoming a reality. Alien medical observers from multiple star systems watched through remote quantum links. Their sophisticated communication networks transmitted every moment of the unprecedented recovery. This was more than a medical breakthrough. It was a moment that would reshape interstellar medical understanding. Suddenly, the primary display erupted with a cascade of biological data. Yuna's genetic structure was stabilizing. But more than that, it was evolving. The nanobots had done something extraordinary. They weren't just fixing her existing biology. They were helping her body reimagine its own potential. "Impossible," whispered Junho, Dai's senior research assistant. "We're watching something that shouldn't be happening." The room filled with a soft blue light as quantum sensors mapped Yuna's transforming cellular network. Her body was becoming something new, a perfect fusion of her original genetic structure and the innovative human medical technology. Outside the medical facility, massive space stations repositioned their observation arrays. Government research teams from multiple planets watched with a mixture of excitement and disbelief. A human doctor was achieving what generations of advanced alien medical teams had failed to accomplish. Robotic medical drones continued their precise monitoring. These weren't simple machines, but advanced quantum-linked units capable of processing billions of calculations per microsecond. Each drone represented years of human technological innovation. Yuna's breathing changed. Something was happening. The medical team watched in absolute silence. Her vital signs began to stabilize in ways that defied previous medical understanding. The nanobots weren't just repairing, they were communicating with her cellular structure, teaching her body how to heal itself in entirely new ways. The Alien Medical Council, watching through remote quantum links, began to realize they were witnessing a medical revolution. Their traditional understanding of genetic reconstruction was being completely rewritten by a human medical team. Hours passed. The transformation continued. Yuna's body was becoming something extraordinary, a perfect fusion of biological potential and advanced medical technology. They noticed something remarkable. The nanobots were adapting in real time, learning from Yuna's unique biological structure. It wasn't just a medical treatment, it was a conversation between advanced technology and living biology. Robotic medical assistants recorded every moment. Quantum sensors mapped the unprecedented cellular transformation. The entire facility seemed to pulse with a new kind of potential. The alien medical observers began to understand. This wasn't just a medical breakthrough. This was a fundamental reimagining of what was possible in interstellar medical science. Yuna's eyes opened. She looked different, stronger, more alive than anyone had ever seen her before. The nanobots had done more than repair her reproductive system. They had given her a new chance at life. "It worked," she whispered, her voice carrying a mixture of wonder and hope. Dai smiled. More than worked. They had just changed everything. The medical facility erupted in quiet celebration. Robotic assistants moved with increased efficiency. Quantum communication networks began transmitting the breakthrough to research centers across multiple star systems. Humanity had just demonstrated something extraordinary. When faced with an impossible challenge, they didn't just find a solution, they reimagined what was possible. Una represented more than a medical recovery. She was living proof of human potential. Something miraculous had happened. End of Part 4. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Medical Council trembled with an electric anticipation. Hundreds of delegates from different star systems gathered, their advanced, holographic interfaces humming with preliminary data about the extraordinary medical breakthrough. Day Choi stood at the center of this massive chamber, representing humanity. He wasn't just a doctor anymore. He was a symbol of human potential, innovation, and unexpected capability. Una walked beside him, her transformed body a living testament to human medical innovation. Where once she represented a species facing genetic extinction, now she stood as proof of something miraculous. Massive robotic communication arrays surrounded the hall, transmitting the proceedings to research centers across multiple star systems. This wasn't just a medical presentation. It was a moment that would reshape interstellar understanding of medical science. The alien medical delegates represented civilizations thousands of years more advanced than humanity. Their technological capabilities had mapped countless biological systems, developed sophisticated medical technologies that seemed like magic to less advanced species. But today, everything would change. Day's presentation began with a simple holographic display showing Una's cellular transformation. Complex quantum algorithms danced across the screen, revealing how human medical technology had achieved what generations of alien medical teams had considered impossible. "We didn't just repair a reproductive system," Day explained, his voice calm and precise. "We reimagined what's possible in medical intervention." The quantum-linked displays showed the nanobots' extraordinary journey, how they had communicated with Una's cellular structure, learned from her unique biological composition, and essentially taught her body how to heal itself in entirely new ways. Robotic medical assistants moved silently around the presentation area, their advanced sensors capturing every moment. These weren't simple machines, but sophisticated quantum-linked units representing the pinnacle of human technological innovation. The Alien Medical Council watched with a mixture of skepticism and growing respect. Their traditional medical approaches had become rigid, locked into established protocols. Humanity was showing them something different, an approach that was adaptive, creative, and fundamentally revolutionary. Una's transformation wasn't just a medical miracle. It represented a new way of understanding biological potential. The nanobots had done more than repair her reproductive system. They had demonstrated a form of medical communication that transcended traditional understanding. Holographic displays erupted with complex biological data. Each slide revealed another layer of the extraordinary medical breakthrough. The room became a symphony of quantum information, revealing humanity's unexpected medical capabilities. Outside the council chamber, massive space stations repositioned their communication arrays. Research teams from multiple planets watched with increasing excitement. Something extraordinary was happening. The presentation continued. Dai showed how the nanobots had essentially learned a new language of cellular communication. They weren't just repairing. They were engaging in a sophisticated dialogue with living biology. Alien medical delegates began to realize they were witnessing something unprecedented. Humanity wasn't just presenting a medical solution. They were introducing an entirely new paradigm of medical understanding. Robotic communication units began transmitting the breakthrough across multiple star systems. Research centers, medical facilities, and scientific observation teams received the data simultaneously. Una stepped forward. Her presence was powerful. Where once she represented a species facing genetic challenges, now she stood as living proof of human medical potential. "This isn't just about my recovery," she told the assembled delegates. "This is about reimagining what's possible when different species collaborate." The Galactic Medical Council chamber fell silent. The implications were profound. Humanity had just demonstrated that innovation, creativity, and unexpected approaches could solve challenges that seemed insurmountable. Day's final slides revealed the broader potential. This medical breakthrough could help species across multiple star systems facing genetic challenges. It wasn't just a solution for one individual, it was a potential lifeline for entire civilizations. Robotic medical assistants began preparing comprehensive data packages. Research teams would spend years studying this breakthrough, understanding its profound implications. As the presentation concluded, something extraordinary happened. The alien medical delegates began applauding, a rare gesture of respect in their formal communication protocols. Humanity had just changed everything. A medical revolution had begun. End of Part 5.